What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about when and if Final Fantasy VII's Remake will ever come to Xbox. And the reason I bring this up is probably pretty simple, and is probably what Xbox fans are wondering right now, too, is, well, you're going to do the Crisis Core thing, right? So Crisis Core, obviously, it's about as much of a remaster as you can get. I think everybody, including myself, by the way, were very confused that I thought it was a remake. A lot of websites have remake in the title of their articles that the Crisis Core game would be a remake, but it's actually just an HD remaster. But the point is, you have that, which is, you know, the lead-up prequel to Final Fantasy VII, and you're having that on all consoles. Now, I will say, you know, if you're a person that doesn't have the PlayStation, right, and you're like, well, what are the odds of eventually this trilogy that we know, right, of Final Fantasy VII coming to Xbox? How likely is that? You gotta feel pretty, now maybe you feel upset that like it's going down the way that it is, but you have to feel optimistic, I think, in the future eventually that it's gonna come, right? I mean, that is actually a sincere question to people. I wonder what they think, because yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a game that's a prequel coming out on everything. Now, it comes out on the Switch, it comes out on PC, comes out on the Xbox consoles, also comes out on PS4, right? So the PS4 can run it. And it's like, well, why would you have a game like that come out on everything when the game that it leads into, arguably, right, so Remake, that is only out on PlayStation and PC, right? So when will that come out on Xbox? So I think the answer, well, let's make a distinction. I think it is more when than if. I feel like the Crisis Core thing really solidified that. Obviously, it's taken years to get it to different, like Steam, right? It's taken over 2 years to get it to Steam. But I do think at some point, unless Sony, by the way, buys Square Enix, but even if that were to happen, and that's a whole different discussion and a whole different possibility, right? Who knows what could happen with a lot of different things. But if everything kind of stays the way it is, right, I just imagine it'll eventually happen. Maybe it's like a 3-year thing. Maybe it's longer. But again, the issue probably is, well, it's going to take literally forever, right? So if you don't have a PlayStation, it's going to take forever, even longer than PlayStation players, to be able to play the entire trilogy, right? So I think it's more when than if. I think it'll eventually happen. I think Crisis Core kind of proves that. Again, as to the answer of when, though, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe next year, like the end of next year. I mean, like, is Persona 5 something that you look at as a comparison? Because that took a while, right? Like, it depends on what you use as your base to see what kind of contract Sony has. But again, that's only talking about part one. Right, that's only talking about Remake. Maybe Remake comes out next year on Xbox platforms, but then, all right, well then 7, or I always want to say 7 Part 2, but it's Rebirth, right? Well, that comes out next winter. So that's like 2020, late 2023, early 2024. You wait until 26, 27. Do you have to wait till the third game comes out before the second game comes out on Xbox? So look, this is not and arguing of like console wars or who's right or who's wrong. I hate that stuff. I'm staying out of it, and I am staying out of it in this video. But it is something I did want to discuss in terms of, you know, when it could happen for Xbox. So I do think it'll happen, but I think it'll probably take another year for part one, and maybe like a 2 or so year contract for each game is what I'd probably imagine. Maybe longer, maybe. To say shorter, I mean, there have been examples where Sony does 1-year deals. Obviously, that's not specifically with Xbox. That's not what they did with 7 Part 1. They obviously had to be much longer, obviously a little bit longer than 2 years for PC. Well, it came out on Epic Game Store, right, already. It's now out on Steam, and that took over 2 years. So I don't know exactly what the contract said, but obviously for Xbox, it was, you can't do it for many, many years, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.